Streaming. Yeah. Start recording. All right. All right. We are here. I'm gonna make sure we get this going. Test. I'm gonna and we're live with Kevin Adams here. How you doing, Kevin?
What's going on, boss? I can't complain, man.
Man, just trying to get this audio stuff right. This is our second take at it.
Take
Just
two,
trying
baby.
to
Take two.
take two of it. So you dropped some diamonds last time. So hopefully we can recreate the magic. I know a couple people reach out to me and say your beard was on point. So so it was nice. So I had some people are watching. So um yeah. So let's start off. Just for those who may not know you, who is Kevin Adams?
Kevin Adams. Well, that's a weighty question, but I'll give you both the personal and professional. Right. Let's start with the professional end. Kevin Adams is the director of Recreation, Parks, and Community Health for the Village of Park Forest in the Chicago Southland area. I've been with the village now. I'm in my 18th year. This is my third as director. Previously served as assistant director, recreation manager, rec supervisor during my tenure. Got a great team, great staff, a great community that I'm, obviously very passionate about. Personally, Kevin is a Park Forest kid, like a lot of people that moved to the Southland. We came from Chicago, whether it was the South Side, West Side, over East. I came from the South Side. Mom moved out here to Park Forest in '91, and I've had some affiliation with the community really since then. So, father, four, husband, you know, I'm just me. I'm just me, and just thankful for the opportunity to serve and to be on this podcast, talking to my brother.
Awesome, man. Thank you. Once again, I failed to remind everybody just the Brotherhood of Parks and Recreation professionals. So we just, we got our logo up here. We're trying to, just reach out to all kinds of all brothers from all over the United States and beyond that is in the Parks and Rec field and serving. So we just out here trying to, fellowship and just figure out where we are and how we can connect as brothers and in this world and things that we got going on. So next, what drives you? What's your passion? What's your why?
My why is really the people, right? It's the people that we serve. They deserve, especially when we talk about, people of color. We're talking about, black folks. We're talking about brown folks. Um, Making sure that they have the best of whatever services it is that we offer, right? And so that's my why. That's what drives me, is to make sure that I'm doing right by my people, and that means also my people as in the residents, but also in that subsector of that population that where that people hits a little bit deeper, right? And so that's the why, is making sure that I'm doing right by my people, and that motivates me and drives me each and every day, man.
That's what's up. That's what's up. How'd you get into this line of work, this field? How you fall into this? Because most people fall into it. They don't find it. They fall into it.
That's exactly what happened. After college, I attended Langston University, HBCU, Historically Black College and University out in Oklahoma. Came back home like 60 something percent of college graduates do. Come back to the soil. Came back, was trying to figure out exactly which path I was going in after a couple of different career opportunities, and was going into education and started volunteering for this youth basketball league in Park Forest, and did that. Some time went by, kind of built and established a bond with the rec supervisor at that time, a man by the name of Chuck Saby. And so he reaches out to me one day and says, hey, Kev, I don't know what you got going on. I don't even know if you'd be interested, but I'm moving over to a different position with the department, and I think you'd be great for it. I was like, okay, thanks, Chuck, for even considering me. And I learned as a one-time Boy Scout. I remember, always be prepared, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I used to keep resumes in the trunk of my old Chrysler 300C. And I had a T-shirt on, some jeans. I was working across the street doing the after-school program for a daycare. Come over. It's about 4:50. It's like 4:30 something. Village closes at 5. That's the deadline. And I run over there and meet with the director, drop off my application, and that kind of started the process. I interview. I had did 3 summers working with the village, so I had some familiarity working with the police department for a summer camp program while I was in college, and they remembered me. And that's a reminder to all of us out there that people know you how they know you. And so always remember to put your best foot forward because you never know what doors they may open for you or what seats they may pull up at the table for you based off of, the first impression that they had of you. So it worked out for me, man. And, 18 years later, I'm still here.
Dope.
That's what's up. That's what's up. That's real dope. Um, Man, yeah, those opportunities don't come too often. Like that chance. Like we got these blessings that pop up. I always say mine was Tracy Crawford. Like I called her
Mm.
so many times for my internship, and I was just waiting for her to call me up. I didn't even know she was a sister until I really got to know her because we got that we put on that little the voice or the show uh
That good old code, that good old code switching, baby.
that code switching. So yeah, but I had no idea she was a African American sister that was just opening the door for me, and she opened it up so much that I wouldn't be standing here if it wasn't for her. So we always think about that, and that's dope. um Looking back, what's an accomplishment that you're really proud of that you've done in the field so far?
Oh, definitely. We had a major park redevelopment, right? And so I come from the programming side. I come from the people side. I could do that in my sleep. But when I stepped into the role as director, we had about a $2.5 million park redevelopment. We were installing a 2-acre pond. We were putting in something that you would appreciate, an all abilities playground. I remember going out there to Lincoln Way to look at yours. And we were installing all this in, right? And my background, like I said, was in the people. It was dealing with the people, dealing with programs, not necessarily on the facility side of things in parks and open spaces. And I was tasked with completing that project, and I did so. I did so. If I could say so myself, I did so quite well, right? And but it was one where, I'm a pretty confident guy. I had some doubt, right? Hey, can Kev, you gonna pull this off? You gonna be able to do this? And I did. It wasn't without challenges, but pulling that project off, man, is definitely that's kind of my shining, achievement so far in this field. I got another one coming up over the next 18 months that's going to be even more challenging. But that kind of kicked in the door for me and let me know, all right, baby, you're supposed to be here. You got this. And that kind of elevated me to the next level.
That's what's up, man. That's dope. That's what's up. So how many parks do you oversee, and where you at?
So we have about 17 dedicated parks. That includes Rail Fan Park, which is a park that allows you to view a unique four-way train clover. There's not many like that in America. So we oversee that. Oversee, of course, ball fields, playgrounds. We've got tennis courts, pickleball courts, basketball courts. We also have, of course, a rec center. We have an outdoor aquatic center. We also have a performing arts theater. It's a 287-seat performing arts theater. We are a full-scale, full-range department here in the Southland that I'm proud to work with and say, we're doing some amazing things. So that's just a little taste. We also oversee all of the other village-owned facilities and do the maintenance and repairs for those facilities. So But that to kind of answer your question, Keith, 17 parks, a bunch of playgrounds, a pool. Also we also oversee a tennis and health club. So
Okay.
a pool, a tennis and health club facility, a performing arts theater, and a rec center.
That's what's up. If you can go back and do anything differently, what would it be and why?
Hmm. I'd probably say I don't know if there'd be. You know what? I would say this: if there was something I would do differently, it probably would have been taking this field seriously earlier. Right when I got in, when I first met you, and I met O, and everybody else, Lynette. When I met everybody when I first came in, I was still kind of in that I could do anything stage. I'm not sure if I'm gonna settle in on this, and so it took me about 5 years to really kind of say, okay, I see the value in this career. I see where I can go in this career. I know my place in this field. If I could have probably turned back the hands of time, I would have probably took it a little bit more seriously early on. But with that being said, I'm not a person who lives with regrets, and obviously it's turned out well for me. But that would be my bit of advice, I think, to all the other brothers that are out here that may, depending on where you're at in your stage in your career, is this career has real value, has life changing value. So really, really get into it. Tap into mentors, tap into this brotherhood that is emerging in this field, and they will help you guide you along the way in this journey.
That's what's up. I mean, because I was pursuing you for about 5 years, but I see you. Like I see you now. You starting to get involved and do things on the national level, and that getting involved on the national level that bring everything home because you see what other people doing and what you can bring to your community and what other people are doing out there and the resources they able to get. So that's good. I'm glad that you getting out there and you doing things. And then for the young professionals out there, the people that don't know this is a career choice. There's so many jobs that's available in Parks and Rec that people don't know. Like if you want to be an accountant, there's accountant jobs. If you want to HR, there's HR. Everybody needs it. All of us have attorneys. We use the same one. So there's a lot of jobs in these fields that people don't know that's out there. Can you speak of some of those that you offer at your place?
So being a part of a municipality obviously gives us a wide-ranging scope of professions, right? Because we have police, we've got fire, we've got economic development, we've got public works. But inside of our department, I mean, you think about uh, the general nature of what you think Rec and Parks is, right? You've got programmers, you've got arborists, you've got landscape architects, you know, I've got cultural arts. One of the unique things here in Park Forest is that we aren't just Rec and Parks, we're community health, right? And that's going to be one of the things that I'm going to start really pushing to our profession is re-envision what we do. Take it out of people's minds that this is leisure services and that this is a core service for every community that exists right in this country. And so I think when you talk about community health, that makes it core, that makes it real because they understand the value of health and the services that we provide. Cater to you physically, mentally, emotionally, and so if we start reframing, how we describe ourselves, I think we push ourselves into that core conversation.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Um, you did mention a little bit about mentor. Is there someone that mentored you along the way, or you looking to mentor? Are you mentoring somebody? Talk about a little bit about mentorship and what it means for you.
The crazy thing about mentorship is, first of all, I've been blessed to have a lot of people who saw something in me when I didn't necessarily see that in myself, right? It takes people to say, "Hey, I see you, right? I see you could do some great things." And I've been blessed to have a lot of that, whether it was in high school, really every stage of my life, professionally, here at the village, having village managers, kind of say like, "Hey, you're next up." let's bunker down and you can go make some real change out here. Um, Professionally, I look at people like you. I look at people like Oralethea. I look at people like Tracy. That really kind of help steward me into this field, right? The interesting part about mentoring is this. I think a lot of times we get the misconception that mentoring is like big brother, little brother, or big sister, little sister. Like it's age dependent. Like he or she is older than me, so they're gonna be my mentors. That's not necessarily the case. I find myself kind of now serving as mentors of people who are older than me, but maybe my tenure in the field is longer, or just maybe how I approach things in this profession is different. And so don't be afraid to reach out to people. And really, if you're on the other end of that scale, right, the other end of that coin where you are the mentor, don't be afraid to reach out to these young professionals or reach out to your peers, because sometimes you will find yourself, it's not necessarily going to be, the young professional, wise, aged professional. It just could be peer to peer,
Mm-hmm.
right? You could be director to director, executive director to executive director. And that's what I found as I, really started to be involved at a state level and a national level is I've been really impressed by the amount of my peers that kind of look to me. I'm like, I don't, like I said, like I wasn't really expecting that, but I definitely value it, man, and I'm very thankful for being able to impart some things, some of my wisdom, and then also going to people like Corey Wilson and other brothers and sisters on the national level and tapping into them to say, hey, what do you think about this? So it's it's a yin and a yang. It goes back and forth. Don't do a one-way relationship. If you've been mentored, mentor somebody else.
That's what's up. That's cool. I like how you said your mentors. You, they may not look like you. So you tapping into other people, like, I consider a couple people my mentor. I got Greg Lewis over at New Lenox Park District.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of my mentors. I got a lot of people that don't do, we didn't grow up in the same, economical status. We didn't grow up in the same places. We bring a different value. And I like to say I'm always teaching him something too, and he's teaching me something, and it's just a back and forth. You pick up a lot from different relationships you get in with your mentors and even your staff. So that's awesome that you said that too. So what's something that people wouldn't know about you just by looking just by looking at you? They know the professional Kevin. What's something that somebody might not know about you that shaped who you are?
I think it is. There's a lot of different things. Everybody got some things that people don't know about you that might shock them. I would say for me, this is kind of I'm goofy. It's kind of my personality. I think I think I call myself a blurred, right? A black nerd. I love, comic books and a whole bunch of other different things that I think help shape who I am. Pop culture was big for us kids growing up in the 80s and things like that. And so, um, but it also just kind of adds to my authenticity, right? If you talk to me long enough, I'll tell you exactly who I am. You'll get a you'll get a chance to really experience, Kevin. And I want to get that experience from people that I have the chance to sit down and fellowship with. So that's really the big thing is, I'm still a kid at heart. The stature and the beard and the bald head and all that other stuff don't really matter. It's still a little 10-year-old Kevin on the inside that want to just go outside and have fun.
That's
You know,
what's
so
up. Man, one of the reasons I started this is to talk about like our mental health. Like, a lot of people don't know what we go through as African American directors because it's not many of us, in Illinois, doing positive things and succeeding. So, like I want to talk a little bit about mental health and how you prepare yourself for a day and how you get through some of the things that you have to navigate through being where you from, and then how, and being how we look, and we represent different types of communities, and we had a leadership role in that community.
So I think, first of all, mental health is very important. I think in our community and our culture, for many generations, we shunned it. I don't know why. I'm not cut from that cloth, right? I believe in therapy, right? We're not perfect. Don't try to pretend that you're perfect. I believe in peace. So that means that I like to center myself. I go, sleep sounds and
Hmm.
ocean sounds and things like that, man, that kind of bring me to a peaceful state, kind of calm my mind, calm my nerves. I think everybody understands that, as a black man in America, we do have one of the shorter lifespans. And I think a lot of that is because of the stress that we internalize. So we're not going to do like others that came before us. We're going to, we smarter and wiser now. So you go out here, you realize that you need to do things to balance your stress levels, to calm yourself, whether it's going outside and experience nature, take your shoes and socks off and get grounded. I'm very big on mental health. I have some good friends who are mental health professionals, and we're always trying to incorporate that in our community to make sure that our community understands the resources that are out there and they are doing the best for themselves. So, very big fan and proponent of mental health measures that we can do to better ourselves. And I encourage everybody out here to find something that helps center yourself and brings you down when you're a little elevated.
That's what's up. Books. I know you mentioned a book you read last time. What's your best author, or a book, or a movie that you read recently that you want to throw out there for people to check out?
Yeah, there's one book that I can remind people about, and I'll say it again, is The Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson. It's a phenomenal piece of literature that was written in 1933. And what Brother Woodson was talking about then, what's so heartbreaking about it is he's talking about things that resonate now in 2025, and they have since he wrote that book. It's a lot of different mentalities that we have amongst us as people, a lot of mental chains that have to be broken, crabs in a barrel, there can only be one, all of these different challenges. And he very well articulates those negative parts of our culture in 1933, and they still, unfortunately, remain to this day. So if you have not read that book, please do. I was just given a book by a good friend of mine, and another brother in this field called Click that I'm getting ready to jump into. It's about ways to build great relationships. Some other books that have really mattered to me in my professional career. It's Your Ship. It's Your Ship is a book about leadership. If you follow me on LinkedIn, you'll see that most of my posts are talking about leadership. I believe I've been mentored by great leaders, so it's my duty to go out here and share some of that wisdom with others to help them along their journey as leaders. And so those are three books that I would say right now. The Click is the most recent one. The Miseducation of the Negro is probably the greatest book I've ever read. And then It's Your Ship was an unbelievable book about leadership from a naval perspective.
Okay, man, those sounds good. I gotta get. I ain't read none of those, but I'm gonna get on get my
Gotcha.
read on and get me one of those, and check it out. Let's see. Uh HBCUs. Yeah. What you think about HBCUs in our field, and how can we leverage the HBCUs and the fraternities and sororities and Masonic lodges in our communities in Parks and Rec?
Well, being a graduate of HBCU means the world to me. College is really what shaped me as a man. I really came into college as a boy and came out of there with a much better concept of what a man meant because I was mentored by men in that college that you don't get at other institutions. And so going to a HBCU, I think they are as important now as they were when they were first founded, many of them in the 1800s. It's giving us a place to learn and grow amongst us, mentors that we need, because it's a very different world out there. And sometimes, we need to be guided by those who can share and impart wisdom that's directly for us, right? And so they still have a very important place. We were at NRPA. There was a session by some HBCU graduates about specifically how HBCUs can be more involved in our profession in recreation and parks. Um, when you come to the fraternal and sorority aspect, I'm a member of frat. I'm a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. And so when I look at the Noops and I look at the Qs and the Alphas and the Sigmas and the AKAs and the Deltas and the Zetas and the SG roles, I think what you should do in our field is reach out to those alumni chapters that are in your community or in your surrounding area. See how you can partner with them on events, see how they can give back, because each one of these organizations has charitable donations and community service that they have to provide. See how you can partner with them in your community to really make an impact. So that would be my encouragement right there is, seek them out. They're all around you. Find the alumni associations, bring them in, find the alumni associations of HBCUs in your state and in your city, especially if you're in a major metropolitan area, right? And see how you can get them involved in your community, so that we can, bring these young Black and brown kids into institutions of higher education if that's their path, right? But get them exposure at least so they know that it's an option and they can weigh their options.
That's awesome. There was a session, like you mentioned, at NRPA conference that was really good. It was the first time that I had attended that session as being a graduate from HBCU myself that lost by the Bayou City Classic by Humble this last weekend. And it was devastating. But yeah, the brothers did a really good job at that. Brothers and sisters did a really good job at sharing the message of the HBCU and what we come from and how we can leverage those dollars and those things to get programs going. So I just want to make sure that we're always bringing that up because there's a lot of local sororities and fraternities as well that could help out parks and park districts and SRAs and wherever you're doing. Um,
Absolutely.
all right, so I ain't gonna keep you too long. This was a great conversation. Um, just want to uh, end on something that if you had to just any bit of advice for young professional, what would that be?
I say get involved early at the state level, at the local level. Get involved, especially outside of your organization. I remember when I started and the group of professionals that were in the field in my area around me. There's a good amount of them that are no longer in this profession because they got with an organization or an agency and things didn't work out, and then they kind of got profession hurt. We say people got church hurt. They go to a church and
Yeah.
the deacon or the groups over there did them wrong or shunned them or whatever. They just weren't friendly, and then they just don't go back to that church, and then they shun the religion or faith as a whole. That happens a lot in our profession too, right? You start off in communities that a lot of times they're either going to be majority Black, or sometimes you start in a community that is majority white, and you get experiences in whatever those communities or agencies are that really kind of turn you off on the field. And so, what I would encourage somebody, our young professionals are to really get involved outside of your agency. See this profession as a whole, because that will give you the actual holistic 30,000-foot view of what it is that we do. And then you also won't be pigeonholed to just your agency. You'll see that there's opportunities out there that exist that are really commonplace in just about every other walk of life, right? Especially when we talk about public service. That happens a lot where you kind of get with one one municipality, and then that just becomes, the idea is to retire from that municipality if you're in a good one. But sometimes, you want to, you're a climber, right? You want to move up and move around, but that doesn't happen by happenstance. You have to get out there. You got to network. You got to resource build, and then you'll be able to really see what you can do in this profession.
Yeah, that's dope. That's good. I always say your network is your net worth.
Net worth,
That's
absolutely.
right. You can't do nothing if you're sitting behind a desk just sitting there. You got to get out there and get the people.
That's right.
All right. So, like in closing, I always say you get to nominate somebody for us to bring on. I know you said somebody last time, and this is take two of us. So we kind of repeating the questions
Yeah.
and repeating the stuff. So it's still same good information. But who would you recommend for me to interview and to drop some knowledge and drop their story and interview?
There's so many great professionals that I know, especially considering, but keeping it to what this group is about, and it's empowering brothers in this profession. I would probably start with one that has kind of become kind of one of my new brothers. I actually just posted about him on LinkedIn, and that'd be Brother Khalid Salahuddin. He's gonna kill me if I said his last name wrong. Uh, but I would say Khalid is a great brother. He's currently the president of NRP EMS, NPR EMS, and so we really started to forge a brotherhood. Had a chance to top and just chop it up, and I think he'd be excellent for this platform and somebody that can kind of share his experiences and being in a different region, being in the South, being in Florida. So that's who I'm gonna throw up there. I'm gonna nominate him. Let's get Khaled on the chat.
All right, that sounds good. Well, I'm glad you nominated him because he actually is my next person to interview. So
I'm
that's
a visionary. I'm a visionary. You know.
that's what's up. Well, man, I appreciate your time. I know we all busy around the holidays. Have a Merry Christmas. If I don't, I'm sure I'll see you before then. We got so much stuff going on. We'll see each other. We got a couple meetings we'll be at together. But appreciate your time. Appreciate your insight. Um, anything you need, I'm here. You can always call. Same vice versa. This is the Brotherhood of Parks and Recreation Professionals. We empower men of color and shaping the future of Parks and Recreation. So thank you guys for viewing. Thank you for coming out, and I appreciate your time, Kevin. Thanks.
Y'all stay tuned in, man, and give it up for my brother Keith, man. Thank you for initiating this, brother. We appreciate it.
I appreciate you.